7 eternal wars that have been going on for decades. 7. Iraqi Conflict. 20 years. Fatalities since 2003. More than 1 million. The Iraq War was just the beginning. U.S. forces fought new insurgencies until 2017. Then they pulled out. But peace has not returned. Iraq is grappling with Islamic State attacks. Northern Iraq is still seeing IS violence. In 2022, more than 4,000 were killed in the clashes. More than 1,000 have already been killed in 2023. 6. Insurgency in the Maghreb. 21 years. Fatalities since 2002. More than 55,000. The Islamist insurgency in North Africa is massive. At least 15 countries have been drawn into the conflict. It all began after the Algerian Civil War ended in 2002. Militant Algerian Islamists allied themselves with Al-Qaeda. They formed Al-Qaeda in the Islamic Maghreb. In 2012, AQIM managed to capture the northern half of Mali. They have also made inroads in Libya, Niger, Tunisia, and Burkina Faso. Around 11,000 people have been killed in 2023 alone. 5. ADF insurgency. 27 years. Fatalities since 1996. More than 9,000. ADF stands for Allied Democratic Forces, but in fact, it's a militant Islamist group. The ADF declared war on 2 governments in 1996. They're fighting against Uganda and the Democratic Republic of the Congo. The ADF's third biggest enemy is MONUSCO. That's the UN peacekeeping mission in DR Congo. The ADF operates as a quasi-state. They have hidden camps with thousands of inhabitants. These camps are deep in the jungle and serve as their bases. ADF camps have schools, prisons, clinics, and orphanages. The ADF split in 2019, with one half of it becoming allied with IS. Now the 2 factions are fighting both each other and government forces. 4. Somali Civil War. 32 years. Fatalities since 1991. More than 500,000. In the 1980s, Somalia was led by a military junta. Siad Barre's brutal rule led to armed resistance. Eventually, Barre's government was overthrown in 1991. Since then, the various armed groups have been fighting. The war is mostly fueled by clan-based allegiances. However, there's also a strong Islamic militant movement. Kenya and Ethiopia have also intervened militarily. Somalia has almost disintegrated as a country. 3. Afghan Conflict. 45 years. Fatalities since 1978. More than 2.5 million. Afghanistan's problems began with a 1973 coup, but after a communist revolution 5 years later, they got worse. The Soviet invasion destabilized the country further. It lasted 10 years. When the Soviets pulled out, Afghanistan was plunged into a civil war. Various Islamist factions fought, and the Taliban won. Then the U.S. intervened to topple the Taliban. The Americans left in 2021, achieving nothing. The Taliban is back, but there's still an insurgency against it. Almost 4,000 people were killed in 2022. At least 800 fatalities have been recorded in 2023. 2. Colombian Conflict. 59 years. Fatalities since 1964. More than 453,000. This never-ending conflict is relatively low-key, but it has cost 2,000 people their lives in 2023 alone. There are several parties to the conflict. Apart from the government, there are crime syndicates. Then there are the far-right and far-left paramilitaries. The US, Cuba, and foreign drug cartels also play a part. Most of the fighting happens away from urban areas. Rural Colombia has few roads and a lot of jungle. There's no conceivable end to the violence in sight. 1. Myanmar Conflict. 75 years. Fatalities since 1948. More than 200,000. Burma gained independence in 1948. Since then, insurgencies have never stopped. The conflict is largely ethnic-based. Various ethnic groups are fighting the government for autonomy. Currently, Myanmar is gripped by yet another civil war. Around 11,000 people have been killed in 2023 alone.